the books that Derrick writes is just the kind of the stories, the kind of images, the kind of the tone that I like to read to my daughter. We're super excited to welcome New York Times bestselling and award-winning author Derrick Barnes. Derrick wrote the critically acclaimed picture book Crown, an ode to the fresh cut, which received a new honor, a Coretta Scott King honor, the 2018 Ezra Jack Keats New Writer Award, and the 2018 Kirkus Prize for Young Readers. He also wrote the best-selling The King of Kindergarten, as well as he also wrote the best-selling chapter book series Ruby and the Booker Boys, and of course, I Am Every Good Thing, which is also a New York Times bestseller. Holy cow. Derrick is a graduate of Jackson State University and was the first African-American creative copywriter hired by greeting card giant Hallmark Cards. He's a native of Kansas City, Missouri, but currently lives in Charlotte, North Carolina with his wife and 4 sons. Everyone, please welcome the great Derrick Barnes.
Man, every time
Derrick,
I hear that kind of introduction, I'm feeling good. I feel like I'm about to run into the ring or something, man. It's good. How you doing?
I mean, just getting all the awards out is a handful. But I really appreciate you being here and taking the time out to talk to us and to the Uncle Bobbie's community.
No doubt, man. Every time I've been to Philly, I've always stopped by there and ran into Mark the last time I was there, and y'all always show me love, man. So I appreciate it.
Absolutely. And thank you to everyone for being patient. We were working through some technical issues, but that is all solved. I kind of wanted to start with the elephant in the room right now. I don't think when you and I scheduled the day and time, we thought this would coincide with the announcing of a new president. And I wanted to specifically talk about it because I think there is, we've noticed this week, particularly in the last 4 days, the importance of not just Black people, but the Black voting power. And when President Obama won in 8 and 12, we were able to convey this to our children in a way of, you can be anything, you can do anything, which is, a real theme of the book that we're going to talk about today. But this is a little bit different. A Black man isn't going to be president, but it's very clear that Black people made a difference in this election. So from your perspective as an author and as a father, how do you talk about what happened today and this week to our Black and brown kids?
We have 4 boys, the mighty Barnes brothers, man. So and they range in age from 9 to 20. My 20-year-old is a sophomore at North Carolina A&T, but he's here with us, and he's been extremely engaged, man. He voted early, and my 9-year-old is constantly asking questions. I think sometimes we lose sight of the fact that their experience with politics right now, it's nothing like what we grew up with. You know what I mean? I mean, there was a time when we used to say, man, there'll never be a Black man, as president. Richard Pryor had a famous skit about it. You know what I mean? But they have known a time when there was a Black president. And we've seen the backlash of what it was like to have this brilliant, beautiful family in the White House for 8 years. And they go to the opposite end of the spectrum. And we've been underneath this guy's rule for 4 years. And so, the excitement that we're feeling today is not all about, Joe Biden. It's just, returning to some form of decency, returning to some form of leadership, being the head of this household, man. Nothing burns me up more than to see, household being improperly ran, but a entire nation. And so I'm just hoping for and praying for that we return to that and just, being able to witness history. I mean, they've been able to witness history twice. We just elected the first woman and the first Asian African-American woman into office as vice president, which is crazy. That's the first thing that my 9-year-old said, man. So, it's a bit of good news that I think the entire country need right now, young and old, man.
I think so, and particularly, like I said, the fact that the Black vote specifically made the difference in so many of these battleground
Big
states.
difference.
So I think it's a strong message that we can tell to our kids that you have
Yeah.
the political power, you have the ability to make change in your community, in your country. So
Yeah, we've been talking about Stacey Abrams, man, for the past 2 days, man. That man, I love Black women so much, man, just for a multitude of reasons. But you just think about the way she was treated in her election, and she could have gone underneath the rock, but the sister came back roaring, and she, in my opinion, is the primary reason that he won this election. I mean, I know he won Pennsylvania, man, but the way that she was able to galvanize, brothers and sisters down in Georgia and get everyone registered to vote, man, was a beautiful thing, man. Black woman saved this country yet again, man. They're gonna keep doing it. They always do.
well, you're gonna get no argument out of me, and you're right. Pennsylvania was probably, I guess closer in terms of what you may have thought. But Georgia, the idea that Georgia somehow went Democratic is mind-boggling. And that
Yeah, it's
Stacey
insane,
Abrams
man.
is the queen on top of that mountain that made that happen, 100%.
Yeah, yeah,
But I
definitely.
want to segue because, like I said, this is a day of celebration for some, particularly a lot of the people in Uncle Bob's community, and we like to communicate these wins and losses to our children. And you've made a career out of talking to kids and telling stories to
Mhm.
kids. So, what was the choice that you made as an author to say, "Hey, I'm going to focus on writing to young people"? What was the main motivation and choice behind that?
Man, after I graduated from Jackson State with a BA in marketing, I came back home, Kansas City, Missouri. I was hired as the first Black man to write greeting card copy for Hallmark cards. They had been in business over 100 years, and I guess they never thought that a Black man could write copy, could write poetry, for a living.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like being in graduate school. There were so many talented illustrators, painters, writers, and they all had gigs outside of work. And I actually met Gordon C. James, who's the illustrator of Crown and the illustrator of I Am Every Good Thing. There, he was the first brother I met there, and he hooked me up with his agent, which I'm still with now, Regina Brooks with Serendipity Lit, and I just kind of fell into children's lit, man. The first book deal that she brought to me, um, Scholastic started a African American imprint called Just for Us, and it was for a 2-book deal for a early reader series, and I did 2 books in that series. Stop, Drop, and Chill, and the Low Down Bad Day Blues, man. And those are my first 2 books. They came out in 2004, and I just been on a tear ever since then. Came out with a young adult novel in 2007, the Making of Dr. Truelove. In 2008, the Ruby and the Booker Boy series came out. In 2010, my first middle grade novel entitled We Could Be Brothers. But man, I thought I was going to be the next Walter Dean Myers. My career was taking off, but between 2010, 2017, it was nothing. I didn't have any book deals on the table.
Mm-hmm.
It was crazy. I contemplated, quit writing and just getting a real job. But man, when you got 4 kids looking at you, your wife, has expectations on you. Uh, I didn't give up, man. Between that 7-year span, when I was beneath the valley, man, I wrote like 30 some odd books. I wrote chapter books, picture books. I'm staying up late till like 3 o'clock in the morning, working on books that nobody wanted. One day, one of my sons, Solo, he's 16 now, but he was really young then. He's like, "Daddy," came to my office, "you're already not getting published. You know what you should do? You should write the blackest book ever, man." And I always held on to that, man. I was like, everything shifted. Everything shifted in the way I was going to create my work and who I was writing for. And I don't care what kind of artistry that you do. You always, life is extremely short, man. You have to, when you sit down to create your work, you think about legacy. You think about who you're writing for. And there's always been a dearth of Black representation in literature, not just children's literature. So I was like, if I'm going to continue to write books, and I'm already not getting any book deals, man, I'm going to make sure that I write books for little brothers and sisters who don't see themselves when they go into bookstores, when they go into the libraries. And man, 2017 just changed my life, man. I wrote, I saw a sketch of, one of my friends. He did a sketch of one of his sons come home from the barbershop, and I reached out to him. I was like, I want to write poems about our sons and how it feels to get out of that chair. You know how it feels to get out of that chair, and you feel like you can just conquer the world. He thought it was a great idea, but he was actually a working artist. So man, I kept working on it, and I wrote the poem that ended up being the text for Crown, and it just changed my life, man. It was published by Denis Milner Books, and it's a small publishing company outside Chicago called Agate. They were most famous for doing cookbooks, so they published Crown, and it just changed my life, man. Ended up winning 8 big literary awards and took me all over the country. And I thank God for Solo, man, for, saying that one day, out of the mouth of babes, man, write the blackest book ever.
Absolutely.
And that's what I did. And that's what I'll continue to do.
That is amazing. And you mentioned representation, and that coincides with what your son said. Write the blackest book ever. I think particularly in 2020, particularly in the last 6 or 7 months, we've seen Black people be as authentic and as real as, I'm 38 years old, and I in my lifetime, this is the blackest I've ever seen Black people be in a world.
Yeah.
And I think there's a beauty in that, and I think there's success in that. One of the things that I think makes Uncle Bobbie's work is we're Black AF. We are going to be Black all day, every day. You're welcome to the space. It's super inclusive, but it's going to be unapologetically Black. And your books, particularly two, 100% are unapologetically Black and are the blackest books anyone could ever want to read. And I think that is so beautiful. Can you talk about what do you think the impact of representation is? Like, what do you think? Like, why is it important that not just you, but everyone writes the blackest books, or the most Latinx books, or the most LGBTQ books possible, and not try to kind of come to the moderate center, but we go as Black as possible?
Yeah, I think it provides our children with freedom. It provides them with confidence. I tell everybody in this household, my boys are stars. We are very intentional about how we raising them, because I know one day these guys are going to be the head of their own households. They're going to be leaders in their community. So we constantly giving them literature. I'm just like Furious Styles, man. On Boys in the Hood. You know what I mean? Just constantly giving them information, building them up, so that when they go out into the world, they always hold their heads high, that they could speak to anybody. They have a very extensive vocabulary. And once I'm talking about a free Black boy or girl goes out into the world with that kind of confidence, you can achieve anything. You know what I mean? So I mean, I think about that, man. A kid that is 4 or 5 years old that has the king of kindergarten, a crown in their hands for the first time. We didn't have those experiences, man. But you're able to see somebody that's not, kowtowing, somebody that's not assimilating. You see a character that is extremely Black, and all of the positive attributes that you can assign to one of our babies. They see in all this, just being polite and being confident, and holding up the idea that being intelligence is extremely important and of extreme value. So I think about those things, man. I want these babies to have my books in their hand and think about the first time they held I'm Every Good Thing, and they want to keep those books forever so they can pass them on to their children. So I think every Black artist in this country has a important role to play in regards to making sure that you exhibit and that you present Black life in the most beautiful way that you possibly can. And I accept that responsibility, man. And my boys and my and my wife hold me to that responsibility.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So Crown, like you mentioned, it won all those awards. I had to write them all down because there was no way I was going to be able to prize them. So I Am a Good Thing follows this just hugely successful award-winning book.
Yeah.
As an artist, as an author, what goes into the process of trying to follow up a book that was just this undeniable success? It's like, your platinum album, your multi-platinum album. Like, how do you follow that
Yeah.
up
Yeah.
and create?
I'm a big music fan. So I think about the artists that I love, like what are their magnum opuses. I have 7 of my favorite albums on the wall. And uh the Tribe Called Quest's Midnight Marauders, that was their magnum opus, you know what I mean? But when you're done creating that body of work, like when I was done with Crown, I'm thinking about what's coming after. You think about building on that. Like I don't want that to be, I don't mind if that's my magnum opus, but as a creator and somebody that's extremely competitive, you're always trying to outdo yourself. I love my peers, man, but I'm always trying to outdo them. You know what I mean? So there's just so many stories that still have not been told. And I created I Am Every Good Thing after 2018. There was a H&M ad that they had a little black boy wearing a green hoodie that said the coolest monkey in the jungle. And we were right in the middle of touring, with Crown. And I ended up writing a poem that night, and I shot it to Gordon, the illustrator, pretty much just saying, no, you don't get to define who our sons, grandsons, nephews are. These are our babies. And, also the whole narrative that would be created after a armed adult or a police officer would kill, one of our sons, they would automatically start to try to paint this baby as some type of villain, like he deserved to be shot. So it was all these things that went into the creation of I'm Every Good Thing. And I just wrote down a list of universal good things that make us all feel good. And those are our sons, those are our nephews, grandsons. If nobody else cares about or loves Black boys, we do. And I just want the world to know that.
I think that's beautiful, and it's from the jump. It's apparent what the message and what the tone of this book is going to be, because in the dedication, you dedicate this book to a lot of the Black boys we lost to police violence and other means, like Tamir Rice, Trayvon Martin, and Mike Brown.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very clear that you're making a choice to say, hey, listen, we are not going to show our boys this one thing that either the media or that white supremacy wants to show. Like, our Black boys are every good thing. They represent all these amazing positive things. And
Right.
it was something powerful. Like, that's the first thing you see when you open a book. And it definitely sets the tone. And to quote Solo again, it's about as Black as you get when you're dedicating it to those
Mm-hmm.
brothers.
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
I wanted to talk a little bit about Gordon James real quick. I
Yeah.
think from your earlier work, the illustrations, look one way, but then once you get to Crown and I Am a Good Thing, the artwork just different, and it's almost like your Eric B to your Rakim in a way, where Gordon kind of just takes the words to another level with the images. And with picture books, with children's books, the images are so important. So how did you and Gordon kind of work together and come with the cohesion to bring, the visual and the words together?
You know, uh, in in regards to Crown, it was on a smaller imprint, so they didn't have a lot of money to give, either one of us. And so, the way this works most of the time is it always starts with the manuscript, and it starts with the story, and the publishing house usually, finds the illustrator. So, man, I asked about 3 or 4 people, but they were just offering 5,000. And usually most children's book illustrators don't get out of bed for less than 15 to 25. That's the low end. So everybody, I think one brother hung up on me, man. I told him how much they were offering. But I was, like I said, I was still going through it, man, not really making any money. Gordon was going through his own issues. When I reached out to him, like I said, there are no mistakes in the universe. wherever you are right now, whether you like it or not, that's where you're supposed to be. And you have to listen to you have to pay attention to the tea leaves and all that, man. And the fact that he was available means that we were meant to make these books. You know what I mean? So Gordon is a fine artist. He was classically trained, extremely talented. The brother's work hangs in museums, and he had never done a picture book before. But he always says during our interviews that, and I kind of feel the same way with my writing. I don't try to dumb anything down. I think a lot of people, take for granted that Black children, especially, are just brilliant, and we don't have to force feed. We don't have to spoon feed them anything. And so he feels that way about his artwork. Like, he feels like his work may be the first time that children are exposed to fine art. And so he doesn't pull anything back or try to make it look, cartoony. He paints for these books the same way he would paint for a museum or a piece of work for, an art collector. Now, as far as the process goes, I'm kind of an all-in person. Like, when I write something, I kind of see the whole project out. So I like to give the illustrator, stock photography, photography, from, my family. Gordon doesn't work like that. He wants you to give him the work, and then you leave him the hell alone and let him figure it out. And so we try to find a happy medium there. We have class and bang heads, man, but I love that brother, man. I love him. And you know how it is with your brothers. And I just got off the phone with my brother. We were arguing about something, man. I hung up. I said, I love you. You know what I mean? So Gordon and I are the same way. I hear those car horns outside, man. They honking for Joe,
Philly's on fire. Yeah, Philly's on fire right now.
So, I love it. I love it. But yeah, this is just our second book, man, and we are figuring out this work process, and it looks like we found something special. We just won the Kirkus Prize the second time this past Tuesday. Nice. The Kirkus Prize for Young Readers. We're the first people to win it 2 times, and we've won it twice within 2 years. So, man, this is crazy, man. This is crazy. We hopefully we can get together, make a few more books, and it's gonna be lovely, man. There's a lot more stories to be told, like I said. So
that's amazing.
Make it happen,
and
G. Make it happen.
You answered my next question, because I was going to ask if we're going to get some more books from the two of you. So I'm glad to hear that. And I think without further ado, we probably should get the book. This is what people wanted to. They wanted to hear you read the book. They wanted to see these images for even folks that have it. Yeah. I got it too. We all got it. So let's get the reading started. I'm going to set everything up.
Thank you, brother.
And just for audio sake, I'm going to mute myself, Gordon. So when you see the title, you just go, Derrick, when you see it, just go and.
Okay. All right. I'm going to start reading the title, and then I'll read the dedications. All right, I Am Every Good Thing was dedicated to the memory of Tamir Rice, Trayvon Martin, E.J. Bradford, Jordan Edwards, Michael Brown, Jordan Davis, and Julian Mallory. And Gordon dedicated the book to his son Gabriel, who is the little brother that's on the cover. This is his son Gabriel, and all little brothers like him. I am a non-stop ball of energy, powerful and full of light. I'm a go-getter, a difference maker, a leader. I am every good thing that makes the world go round, like gravity or the glow of moonbeams over a field of brand new snow. I am good to the core, like the center of a cinnamon roll. Yeah, that good. I am skateboard tricks, scrape knees and elbows. But you know what? I am right back on my feet again. I am one eye open, one eye closed, peeking through a microscope, gazing through a telescope, checking out the spaces around me and plotting out those far off places I have yet to go, but will. I am a gentleman and a scholar. I am kind and polite like yes ma'am and yes sir, helping my grandmother to cross the street and saying bless you when a stranger has to sneeze. I'm a cool breeze, a perfect paper airplane that glides for blocks, for miles, forever. I am a roaring flame of creativity. I am a lightning round of questions and a star-filled sky of solutions. I'm an explorer planting a flag on every square foot of this planet where I belong. I'm a sponge soaking up information, knowledge, and wisdom. I want it all, and I am all ears. I am Saturday mornings in the summertime. I am two bounces and a front flip off the diving board. I am hilarious. I am the life of the party. I'm that smile forming on your face right now. I'm the boom, bap, boom, boom, bap. When the bass line thumps and the kick drum jumps, I'm the perfect beat and the perfect rhyme, keeping everything on point and always on time. But you already knew that. I am a grand slam. Base is fully loaded. I am a nasty two-handed dunk holding on to the rim just to remind you that I'm still the man. Believe that. I am the undisputed champion. I am a highlight reel of magnificence. I am the celebration, the applause, and the standing ovation. I am victory. I am a brother, a son, a nephew, a favorite cousin, a grandson. I am a friend. I am real. I am tight hugs and a hand to hold, a shoulder to cry on if you have to. I hope you never have to. I am here. Although I am something like a superhero, every now and then I am afraid. I am not what they might call me, and I would not answer to any name that is not my own. I am what I say I am. I am that sound in the forest when the mighty tree falls. I am waves crashing gently on the shore. I am a force of nature, a miracle, a blessing. I am brave. I am hope. I am my ancestors' wildest dream. I am worthy of success, of respect, of safety, of kindness, of happiness. And without a shadow of a doubt, I am worthy to be loved. I am worthy to be loved. Thank you.
Yes, 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 sir. That was amazing. Thank you for that. I've read that book a
Right.
bunch of times, but being able to
Thank you, brother.
hear you read it was that was awesome. All right. I would
Thank you,
like to
bro.
open
Thank you.
things up. I would like to
That book
open things up
moves
for
me, man. When
questions.
I read it, I think about babies, man.
Yeah, yeah. I'd like to open things up for questions. Please put them in the chat box or the question box if you have a question for Derrick. I saw one that asks, will we
I
be
would love it.
recording the event? Yes, we're recording the event. It will be on our YouTube page in totality. And we'll also put some clips up on our Instagram page as well. But you will be able to see this again and again if you want to. Checking to see,
Awesome.
does anyone have any questions?
Cool.
We got a lot of people that's showing love though. They love the reading. They love what you're doing.
Man, I appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. Yes, sir. Yeah,
While we wait,
I'm working on like 3 books right now, man. I have
oh, we got a question. It said, Kristen Kresser asks,
all
what
right.
is your advice to children who aspire to be authors?
Man, I get that question all the time because there are a lot of creative babies who tell stories. I was one of them. I started writing when I was 10, and the most important advice I can give to them is to keep living and keep reading. Read every single thing that you get your hands on, because even though I felt like I had a grasp of the English language, I needed to continue reading and developing my voice. And that was the term I didn't fully grasp until I worked at Hallmark, man. Every single writer that you all think about that you love, if you read their work, it didn't have a name on the cover. If you read the dialogue, if you read the exposition, you would know who that writer was. And that takes years sometimes. It takes experience, but you continue to experiment. Tell them to experiment with poetry. Read as much poetry as you can so that your language can be more colorful and more vivid, moving. Read as many short stories as you possibly can. Read as much nonfiction as you can. Learn more about some of your favorite writers. So, I always say just read, experiment with different types of styles. And I wrote my first book when I was maybe 17. It was a collection of short stories. So, and I could read it and I could hear, Derek Walcott. I could hear Langston Hughes, and just still I could hear Rakim. I could hear, DM. And I was just trying to weave all these different voices together to come up with my own style. And I think I write in a very musical, rhythmic kind of way. And shout out to Stevie Wonder and all those liner notes that I grew up reading and copying those lyrics. So yeah, just tell the babies to read as much as they can.
Awesome. We got another one from Maria Simon. She asks, who encouraged you when you were a kid?
Well, my favorite artist of all time is John Coltrane and Charlie Parker. I fell in love with jazz music because I'm from Kansas City, Missouri. Shout out to all my people from Kansas City, the home of the greatest barbecue on the planet, home of the Negro League Museum. And every time I go home, there's a huge bust of Charlie Parker right behind the Negro League Museum. It is enormous. And every time I go home, I sit in front of that bus and I have a conversation with him. And because, I feel connected to all the ancestors, especially the artists that came before us. I feel like I'm carrying Kansas City the way he did. Well, on a personal level, is my mom's, man. My mom's is from Clarksdale, Mississippi. She barely graduated from high school, but she got her CNA license and she worked her butt off, man. 2, 3 jobs sometimes, taking care of me and my big brother Anthony. And she would take me to the library on Saturday mornings when I was 4 and 5 years old. Put me in this wagon. Done worked her ass off all week, but still got up on Saturday to take me to the library to get as many books as we could fit in that wagon, man. And I would bring those books back home. I take a flashlight and tie a shoestring around it, and I hang it up in my closet, and I'll put pillows in there, and I would just read book after book, man. And she constantly fed me with literature because she understood that I had an affinity for words, you know, and she constantly fed me. I talked to her this morning, man. Still my number one fan, man. Love moms to
That's
death,
beautiful. That's beautiful. Yeah. Oh,
man.
we love moms. We got another question from Kai, and they ask, "What is?" Oh, this is a tough one. What's your favorite book that you wrote?
Uh, there's two of them. My favorite book obviously is Crown.
Okay.
Crown
All
changed
right.
my life, man. You know, like I said, just struggling for so long and just being able to do all the things I've always wanted to do for my family. You know, from a financial standpoint, Crown has allowed me to do that. But my other favorite book is a novel called We Could Be Brothers. That came out in 2010. Then it was republished. I bought the rights back and we resold it to probably the largest and the best black owned publishing company. They're based out of New Jersey. It's the mighty Hudson family, Wade and Cheryl Hudson. Just Us Books. Hopefully they watching. And they republished We Could Be Brothers, man. And it's about two 13-year-old boys who are going through a after school suspension. I wrote it during like a week span, so it's like 4 days. One boy comes from a single parent household, and the mother works two or three jobs. He helps take care of his kids' sisters. He's extremely bright. The other boy comes from a two-parent household, upper class black family, and they had an altercation with the same boy. But the whole week is just a conversation between two black boys with two different family structures about race, about uh, wearing their pants sagging, about the respect of black women. And yeah, that's my favorite book. And it was based in my hometown. So We Could Be Brothers and Crown.
Okay. Okay. That's a good. Sometimes, sometimes the one that's the most popular to the world isn't always the author or artist's favorite work. So that's good
Yeah.
that your favorite work happens to be one of your most successful. So that's great.
Yeah. Yeah.
We got another question from Kristen. Because you have four children, she has four as well. Do you have a family motto or values that you teach your children, the Barnes brothers?
Man, I wish I could bring them in here. I got so many. They're gonna have so many mottos etched in their brain. But one, well, I give you two of them. There is a solution to everything. Before you come to me and ask for my help, I want you to run through the gamut of ways that you can fix it yourself. There's a solution to everything, you know. So, I think that's one thing I have etched in their brain. Also, there are no off days. You know, the days that they have off from school or whenever we go on vacation, I want them to constantly be working on their craft, whatever it may be. But in order for them to do that, my wife and I have to, model this behavior. And so I work constantly because I'm passionate about what I do. And they see me in my office working. There are no off days. So like Solo is one of the best football players in the state of North Carolina. Whenever like he didn't have football practice all week, the brother was in the gym. He was out running. You know what I mean? So there are no off days. I told them I'm gonna get a T-shirts with all these slogans on them, man. Every day you should be doing something to make yourself better. I don't care if it's 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Do something to make yourself better.
Awesome, awesome. All right, we have time for two or three more questions. So, does anyone have anything else they want to ask? By the way, the person that asked you about your favorite book, that was a 9-year-old. So we got some young folks. We got
All
some of the
right,
babies
all right,
in the audience.
all right, Kai.
Yeah. So,
Yes,
yeah.
love it, man.
You got any more questions? Well, all right. Well, thank you, Derrick, for.
Hey,
Oh,
man.
wait. We got one. We got one last one. We'll do one last one.
All right.
L asks. L wants to know, what was your experience like working at Hallmark?
I say it was like being at graduate school. You know, I had spent 4 years, obviously, at Jackson State University, greatest HBCU in the land. I don't care what anybody else tell you. I met my wife there, obviously. I met my best friends there. Two or three guys that I'm still, I consider brothers. You know what I mean? So I was bathed in black excellence for 4 years, and then I entered corporate America. The cool thing about it though is I was on the creative side. So you know, same way I'm dressed right now, and that's how I went to work. But it was still a bit of culture shock for me, being like a raisin in a cup of milk, man. But you know, everybody was cool, man. People that work at Hallmark are like lifers. There was some folks that had been there for like 40 years. And so I was able to you know, glean a lot from them and learn a lot from these writers, learn a lot from these editors. I always feel like God has always been getting me ready, you know, for my career. During the editorial process there, they would have you in the room and tell you what parts of your writing sucked and what part you need to fix. I mean, face to face, you know. So now I look at the editorial process like, man, it is a necessary evil, but I love it actually, because when you sit down and work, like I'm working on a novel right now, and I've been working on it for the past 2 months. It's going to be another 2 months before I finish it. You get accustomed to, you fall in love with these characters, you fall in love with the story, and you need a different set of eyes. And stories can be told in a multitude of ways. You know, I could probably write this book over 1,000,000 times, you know. So I learned a lot from being at Hallmark, man. It was a great experience for me. And I only worked there for 3 years. My wife graduated from med school, and then we moved to New Orleans, and that's a whole nother story, man. I can come back and tell you about that. That really grew me as a man, being down in New Orleans. So.
Awesome. Yeah, and it's amazing
Yeah.
how, you know, certain experiences shape who you are today. And like you said, that kind of
Mm-hmm.
corporate America culture shock shaped how,
Yeah.
you know, polished you are as an author, writer, and a creative today. So that's really cool to hear. So again, thank you so much for the reading, answering the questions, sharing your gifts with all of us. We at Uncle Bobbie's, we love your work. They will continue to be on
Thank
the
you, brother.
shelves so long as you keep making them.
Thank you,
There
brother.
is a link right down there where you can buy I Am Every Good Thing online. Great book. You can come into the store. They are on the shelves right now. And this will be up online by next week if you want to see it on repeat. Derrick, enjoy
Just
enjoy the
thank you,
weekend,
brother.
and
Thank you,
we will
brother.
talk soon.
Yes, no doubt, man. Thank you, Pennsylvania. Love y'all, man. Most
All
definitely.
right, peace.
Peace, y'all.